Hi everyone, welcome into Primetime TV Show, our special edition that airs every last Monday of the month called Women Unscripted. Women Unscripted is all about inspiration, motivation. We have cried here, laughed here, had so much fun here. We were just talking about some of the belly laughs that we've done. And today is a very special unscripted day because within the last 24 hours, I was able to bring on the show a very special lady who just released her book. Now, if you've ever heard anything about past life regressions, there might be a little controversy about all that, but I can so relate to it. And when I heard about the fun and everything at the book release party, I'm going to get a hold of Patty. I could not attend, but I saw all the hoopla and all the love that was shown. And so I called Patty through Facebook, through Messenger, and said, would you like to come on our show today? And here she is. So I do want to introduce my core hosts that are always with me every month. To my right happens to be Tinkerbella, also known as Helena Trangata with Bellissimo Publishing. Of course, we have Cher on the end here, Cher Kistler, who is the amazing leader of Amazing Women. And then one of those amazing women happens to be Patricia McGivern. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm thrilled.
Well, you've just been having a whirlwind. Her book is called The Soul Explorer. And I'm really fascinated by this because I understand that people really can get in touch with their spiritual soul selves through past life regression. I want to ask you one of my major questions, and one of the reasons why this is such a great collective group is we all are in the same consciousness level. Call it what you will, but we are. And we like to think that we have a little something going on here that we all share individually. And Patty, I think it's fascinating that you've already written another book, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Soul Explorer, how did you get involved with all this? You shared a little bit with me yesterday when we talked, but this was fascinating.
Yes. Well, I wasn't metaphysical growing up, or I didn't think I was. You know, I did have experiences after my mom passed of hearing from her, but which I wouldn't tell many people. But it wasn't until I suffered a miscarriage, and 4.5 years later, waking up in that in-between state from a nap, today I recognize it as an altered state where the other side can communicate with us. I heard a small child's voice saying, I'm right here, I'm right here. And my eyes flew open thinking it was my daughter who had come after the miscarriage, and she wasn't there, she wasn't downstairs. And an answer came in my mind, you'll find her upstairs asleep. And I thought, how can that be? This voice was clear, it was right next to me. And with that, the hair on the back of my neck went up, and I went flying up the stairs to find her in a deep sleep in her little princess bed. And I tried to make sense of what I had heard because I knew I wasn't asleep. And it literally bolted me, you know, to awareness. And as I'm trying to make sense of it, TV wasn't on, radio wasn't on, no neighbors. Sure. The answer came in my mind, it was the baby you lost. And so that began communication with this child. And then a week later, I went to get a massage. And during the massage, he appeared to her. I didn't know if I had a little boy or a little girl. I felt it was a little boy. My husband felt just as strongly it was a little girl. So I had been wondering, you know, was this voice that I heard, you know, little children's voices sound the same at that age. So I didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, but I had been asking the baby to somehow let me know. And I guess he said to Marianne, that's my mommy on the table, and she wants to know what sex I am. And because I wasn't into all of this then, she had what I thought were rocks, you know. It was crystals, okay. You know, and books about different things. And I thought, who comes here? You know, and I thought, but I feel comfortable here. And so it was there that he began communicating with her, and she said she was afraid to tell me because she didn't know if she'd lose me as a customer.
Right, it sounds woo-woo or just out there or what have you.
Right. So it was through that experience and a lot that happened that day, and the next time that I went in to see her, that I was told that he didn't come alone, that Megan, my daughter, who came after him, was to have come with him, and he had fulfilled his mission, but she wanted me to be her mommy so much she came back to me. And so I also learned, the moment I found out I was pregnant, I had this, what I thought was a bizarre thought, that the baby was my dad returning to me. And I didn't believe in reincarnation at the time. And I thought, where did that come from? And so over time, I learned in a regression that the baby was my dad returning to me. And he felt the greatest gift he could give me was by not coming, because in not coming, it would propel me on my spiritual path faster.
Wow, that's some heavy stuff.
Yeah, can't make that up.
No, and the feeling that you have and that strong sense of that presence is very profound. And I know you girls, chime in, because I've known these girls, as you have, for a while too, and we get into conversations about this and near-death experiences and things like that. And I know there's a lot of controversy about all that, but it's a matter of what has happened to you in your life experience. It's just, it's pretty amazing to hear you talk like this. Now, going back, how long ago was this?
Well, Dylan would be 24 today, and I did, one of my life's purposes, he told me, was to write a book titled Angel Babies, to help heal the mommies who've lost their babies. And as profound and moving as that was, my thought was, wrong mommy, wrong life mission. I'm not a writer. What do I know about babies on the other side? I have no idea what this mission is. So it took me about 4.5 years to step into accepting the mission, and then and during that time I began reading everything possible on near-death experiences, Dr. Raymond Moody, angels, Dr. Brian Wise's book, Many Lives, Many Masters, who I ended up then training with past life regression.
That had to be pretty exciting.
It was fabulous. It felt like it had come full circle.
So let me ask you, was the near-death experience that you did the research on and everything, was that in a way validation for you?
The near-death?
The near-death and all the whole picture of all this and
in terms of hearing from Dylan, or
yes, and all that other side stuff. If you will.
Yeah.
All that.
My husband's a mental health counselor, so I kept saying, "Am I going crazy?" 'Cause I'm hearing voices.
That's really good to know. Did you guys hear that? Her husband is a mental health counselor. So what was his reaction with all this?
Well, he has always been loving and supportive, and even at times when I doubted, when I would ask for a sign, and, if I'm supposed to, believe this, show me a shooting star, and then I see one after I look for a shooting star for 6 months, and then I go in and most conversations started with him like, you aren't going to believe what just happened. And he would listen and always supported me, and when I doubted, he would say something back to me that I had said, and he's been amazing.
Kept the pot stirred.
They were talking the other night. There was a conversation in front of the group at Patty's book launch, and she said to him, I need to go to California and study with Dr. Weiss, and she thought that he would probably, I don't know that it was in the budget. that was the thought I had. I don't think it was in their budget, really. But she said he was very supportive of that. And I can just see Joe, my husband, like, I think I'm going to go out and, take this $3,000 class with such and such, and I'm going to be gone for 5 weeks or whatever. He would be going, right.
Go ahead,
I was saying we're on such a journey, with self-discovery, and it's kind of like the pivotal moments that are like an initiation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just kind of propels you into this direction of just, reaching, deeper and trying to find out answers, but the synchronicity.
Yeah.
And
That's an excellent way to explain
the
that.
synchronicity is when you're paying attention, to those little signs that mean something, and then you find out there's another deeper meaning to it. I was going to say, remember, I forgot where we were leaving to, but tell them about what happened at the airport.
Oh.
Yeah.
So.
Because Patty and I have, by the way, traveled
Yes.
together, to Europe, and had some extraordinary experiences. But in listening and tuning in.
Yeah. So my dad always said travel. It broadens you, it expands you. And so I always ask, even though I think of them as separate, the baby, Dylan, and my dad, I know they're the same, but because I'm human, I still, keep them separate. So I asked my dad, I said, you're going to come on this trip with me, and we're at the New York, at JFK Airport, and I had this thought, and I look up, and here is Dylan's candy. And I said, oh, that was good.
A sign.
And then I looked to the left, and here's a book cover, and it had my dad's name, Harlan, which is very unusual.
Wow.
And then I'm like, that was really good. So, I mean, I'm sure the people walking by are like, because I'm getting very animated about this.
Yeah.
Then a girl comes by, all over her shirt are antique keys, and antique keys were the sign that I asked for when I wanted to know, am I making this up? Am I, could it be possible I'm making all of this up? And now, when I need confirmation, I seek antique keys. This girl had antique keys all over her shirt. As she's walking by, I took a picture of the back of it.
And she's yelling in the airport, look, it's Dylan Candy. And it's that, and we knew what she meant, and it was just awesome. It was an awesome experience. I love that, to get the confirmation, because then it kind of instills that faith, to
Absolutely.
that there is something that's
Absolutely.
making a connection on the other side that's for our best good or a higher good. And you just know it when you get that information.
And thank you for validating that too, because I never knew anything about all that until my own near-death experience.
Right.
And that's and so I now know what you're talking about.
Yes.
And when these things happen and they are more validation, it just fires you up again.
It
keeps
is.
you fired up. And just wild over it. So
even just the other day, I was telling them at the launch celebration, I'm waiting for a friend of mine, Alania, to come, and I'm looking at her text, and all of a sudden I see congratulations being written out as though there were an invisible finger.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, oh, that girl is good. She knows how to do everything, because she just helped me with MailChimp and setting up an event.
That's fabulous.
And so she comes and she's like, wait till you hear what happened. I'm like, what? She said, well, I looked down and there was a congratulations written, and then it went to you. And I'm like, wait, you didn't write that? She said, oh, I don't know how to do that. I said, I watched as though you were writing it.
well, on that note, hold your thoughts. We're going to take a quick little break. By the way, it's Soul Explorer, and we have Angel Babies, and they're both available on Amazon.
Yes, yes.
With Patty McGivern and my two other soul sisters here with Cher and Tinkerbella. We'll be right back after this. At a certain age, so this is supposed to happen. No, it's not supposed to happen. At a certain age, so this is supposed to happen. No, it's not supposed to happen. You bet. Hi, everyone. Welcome into Primetime TV. It's all about Women Unscripted today. We have a very special guest and local author. We're very honored to have Patty McGivern, and she's just launched this new book, Soul Explorer. If you've ever wanted to know anything about past life regression and maybe even helping yourself sort of sort things out in your life, this just might be something that could help you. The book is phenomenal. I can't wait to read the whole thing. But Patty is with us here to talk more about how she was able to get into this, what motivated her, what inspired her. So we're going to ask her a few more questions. And of course, we invite you to go to Amazon.com. You can get her book there. And we're going to toss over to the girls and dig into this really meaty conversation. I'll tell you, this is really great, and hopefully you are enjoying it as well. So Patty, let's talk about hypnosis. Is that how you do your past life regression?
Yes, I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I've been doing it for 19 years now.
Ooh, 2 days.
Right. And hypnosis is a natural state we go in and out of throughout the day. We just don't realize that's what it is. It's that in-between state, like I was saying, waking up from a nap, waking up in the morning. Sometimes when we're driving and we get somewhere and we're like, whoa, how did I get there?
Yeah.
That's a light state of hypnosis. Yeah. I've had people actually tell me they've seen flashes of different lifetimes. That doesn't happen for me.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
But you can get answers in a lot of different ways. You know, even just, you know, you don't have to meditate in a formal way, but just being quiet, looking at the leaves blowing in the tree, and just pose a question, and you can even get answers sometimes in that way. But we go in and out of it. There's nothing in an actual session. You're not asleep, you're not unconscious, you're not a zombie. You aren't going to do anything against your will. In fact, you can lie in hypnosis. I know, because I have. Because I didn't want to answer, you know, the question. And so you have full control. The hypnotist does not have control over you. Those are things that were, you know, brought up in movies and things that aren't accurate. So the state of hypnosis feels so good. It's kind of like being a meditation that you just, in my office, I've got a big cozy chair and a big blankie, and people want to come back for it. I want to recall hypnosis snuggly, and everybody will be running for it.
Oh, that, you know, you made this very welcoming, because you do, you know, people are under this impression, oh, hypnosis, you're not in control and this and that and everything, but you make it very inviting. Now, how can this benefit someone that might be stuck in their life?
Right.
Is that what you're all about?
Yes.
And you've done studies, you've done, how do we want to call investigative work on it?
Yes.
Right? Is that the right word?
Yeah. So people come to me for a lot of different reasons. It could be even like the fear of swallowing. And where does that go back to? That was one of my first clients. He had a fear of swallowing.
Wow.
And so in a regression, we didn't go to another lifetime, but into this lifetime when he was a baby and was given like Pepsi in a bottle. And so, of course, as a newborn, you would choke, and, you know, then...
Bad anchor.
And then what, yeah. And then, you know, as this child grew a little, began choking on a pacifier and too much saliva, and what happens is it begins to anchor in the fear. When that happens, you know, the fear of death comes in. And so we went back to that to reveal what happened. In the knowing of what happened, it releases it. That's in this life. But you can go back, whether you believe in reincarnation or not, you can spontaneously regress. And I've had many clients come to me for what I would say clinical things like that. And they spontaneously regress into another time and learn that how they died, saying being hung as a man, for horse thievery. Their voices sometimes drop. They take on a different voice almost, not in a freaky way, but just enough that it's like, oh, okay, they're really there. And then they heal from that. It's remarkable how people can hear from heal from phobias, physical issues, just everything. The fear of swallowing, fear of heights.
Fear of bridges. I have this fear of bridges.
Yes.
I crouch down on the floor with the magazine over me. And I guess facing those fears is one thing, but this sounds like it could cut to the chase and get it done.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's not actually being on the bridge, but an emotion you have when you're on the bridge, and your subconscious mind remembers everything from all of time, not to mention your soul of all of time. And so everything is filed by emotion by the subconscious mind. So when you bring that feeling up, that fear you have on the bridge that you can remember and tap into and go back, you can find out where that feeling first began. And that's why one of my clients, Jenny, came to me, was a fear of heights. And she ended up becoming my first soul explorer and went through many lifetimes discovering. After the first time, she spontaneously regressed into another life. Afterwards, she said, "What was that? I like that. I want to do that again." And
wow,
yeah,
that is so interesting.
That has to be so rewarding for you to be able to release these things through this process. And it sounds like even people that may be a little bit resistant to it, they can still go through the process.
Well, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So if you trust me and you let me guide you to that beautiful state, I always spend time with the client at the beginning so they feel comfortable with me. And then just allow yourself to go to that state where you're always in control. You can stop it at any time. And if you're in a scene or situation that is very powerful for you, I can usually tell by body language. I just remind the client they can float above the scene and look down without emotion. Sometimes people are very visual and they can see the whole scene. Sometimes they're tactile, like I'll have them feel, sense the clothing, so it helps them get into that scene. Sometimes they don't see anything, but there's a knowing. I don't see a barn, but I know there's one in front of me or behind me, and so they can get information. It's kind of like we have different learning styles. Some of us are visual or auditory, and it's the same way with this too.
That is just so fascinating.
Even things that we're attracted to or things that we like.
Right.
We have an affinity for certain things.
Right.
And you wonder why. Sometimes it makes no sense at all.
Right. That's exactly
and then
right.
you find out, I would think, why or where you were, and you say, oh, that's why I like French pastries, right? Like Alani is with your recent trip to Europe, and you find out, why am I obsessed with this? So that happens too. But what always, when I saw this, I went, wow, that must explain past life regression. They had something on the news about a woman, and I forget, I think she had some kind of accident, had some kind of mild head injury or amnesia. I'm not even sure what happened. But when she woke up, she spoke in a totally different language.
I heard of that. I've heard of that.
Yes. I mean, I think it was English
it was
Cockney accent.
She had an English accent.
Right.
Yeah.
And she wasn't comfortable. I mean, this was it. I mean, this was the way she was speaking, and it really bothered her. And I'm not even sure if she went through a hypnosis to find out. But I think I called you and I said, all right, Patty, like, this is really cool. I think it's like an evidence. I mean, how would you know to have a fluent language or this accent, and where did it come from?
Right.
I mean, it has to be some kind of instilled memory or soul memory or something. And to me, I'm like, that to me really, because there was a couple of them. If you look it up, Google it, and it's just amazing how people can have this extraordinary experience that absolutely, has no explanation.
And
unless
that,
it's
that can be
unless
called
it's
xenoglossy, where they speak another language. I had one client begin to speak to me in what I think was ancient Aramaic. And
exactly.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That is just amazing. It's just so fascinating. We grow up with these belief systems and all that, and then either things hit us at one point in our life or not, where we start kind of delving deeper and looking into, and then things happen like you're just describing, like you share, you know, why am I so attracted to this, and you know, that kind of thing. We've got about 3 minutes for our break, and I know, Miss Tinkerbella, you have an event to go to, and you're going to be leaving us for this last half hour.
That's
but
right.
Thank you for coming for the first two to celebrate with our girls here. All amazing women, life coach, and soul explorer, author extraordinaire / amazing woman. The list goes on. And I feel like I know you. When you responded to me yesterday and got on the phone like that, I go, I know her from somewhere. maybe we have
That's
a
right.
You know what I'm
Half
saying?
life.
That's right.
That's right.
And the same with you two. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the girls are on the show as my regular core hosts and everything, because we just, you know, we think alike, and it's fun to really share what we've learned that maybe be a little bit over the top for some of you, but I got to tell you, that's where generations choose to go to find out a little bit more about the planet, about life, about the earth, about the past, and how it can actually affect today in the future.
Well, you know, there's a study with Marcella in the book. And
Yes.
since you all know Marcella, you might want to talk about that on your next, I don't know what you got in the next segment, but Marcella was there on Saturday. And I think that was very successful with Marcella.
Oh,
you
was-
know,
Well,
so-
we're going to have them back on our Right On show
Yeah, so-
when we can orchestrate that. But it's time for us to take a commercial break. So we're going to do that right now. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. I'm just so fascinated by all of this, and the girls chiming in with their little tidbits of information and their knowledge of their background. But I do want to say thank you for joining us, my love, and we will see you next month, same time, same place, the last Monday of every month. But stick around, because Cher and Patty are going to be with us, and we'll have some very nice conversation, I'm sure. We'll be right back.
I'm sure.
At a certain age, so this is supposed to happen. No, it's not supposed to happen.
Hi, Jackie Skelton from JR World Travel here. If you travel, you need a licensed professional travel consultant, not a computer. Your licensed professional consultant can get you more for your time and your money. Value for your money and experience, not marketing salesmanship. When you're sick, you call the doctor. When you need legal advice, you call an attorney. So the next time you want to go on any type of travel, call your licensed professional travel consultant who actually represents you. We specialise in group travel, family reunions, weddings, to escorting large groups or making special arrangements for the disabled. Please call 844-249-0190. We are a full-service travel consultancy offering worldwide concierge service. Air, land, sea, rivers, resorts, locally, nationally and internationally. Remember that number, 844-249-0190.
At a certain age, so this is supposed to happen. No, it's not supposed to happen.
And then
We are back. We are one less Women Unscripted, but it's going to be a powerful remaining half hour, so stay with us. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Women Unscripted once a month, and today we have a special guest that we have never had on the show before, and she's just released her book on Soul Explorer, and you can get this on Amazon. We're very excited about it. If you've ever wanted to know anything about past life regressions and what it means to you, what it could mean to you, you'll want to get a hold of Patty, because this is a really fabulous book, and she's been doing this work for many, many years, so it's not like she's new at it. I would go to her in a heartbeat. In fact, I actually am planning on it. So let me go ahead and introduce our guest. Cher comes back, always with her credibility as the amazing woman that put together her amazing group of women. How long has it been now? 6, 7 years?
9.
9
Wow,
years.
9 years.
This gal put together a group that is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I'm so proud. I mean, of everyone. It's always a contributive effort for the Amazing Woman organization, but it's really our team that's
Yes.
so spectacular, because they each have a passion for the different field that they're in, you know, their area of specialty, whether it's practitioners, holistic wellness, hypnotherapists, and I'm so happy and excited for Patty, because she's on our team
Yes.
along with 15 other women. And this is really a time for celebration, and not only on the team, but being friends as well, and just watching Patty with her dreams and goals come true is really exciting for everyone to participate in.
And you know, I'm really glad that you said that, because to Cher's credit, you know, putting together a group of women with all these credentials and everything, and being an empowered coach herself, she certifies women to be empowered life coaches. And what's great about that, it just shows that your credibility as well, and your validation with having all these women in your group. She got me coming to hers. I haven't been there lately, but the energy and the powerhouse of women, all women, they're in the same mindset, the same consciousness. And some come in that are just getting to learn about their consciousness.
Absolutely.
Or seasoned women, and sharing it.
Thank you. And our higher potentials.
Yes.
I think, you know, when you were talking about being stuck, and Patty has this this gift and this tool that she's used with hypnosis, but when we share all those different gifts, and people feel like they're under the rope, or, you know, they're really having a struggle, and when you're around this energy and this group of women, we call it the sisterhood for positive living, you find ways, you know, that not only, you know, hearing different information that we're sharing, but just that encouragement.
Yes.
And we grow together. I mean, over the past years, it's really been phenomenal. That, I mean, I've watched each individual woman, including myself, just grow into this, I would say, just a powerhouse of energy. And watching women that are coming in for the first time and feeling so warm and welcome.
Yes.
I mean, it's...
And I've seen that.
Yes.
I've seen that.
And it's not about the competition, it's about the collaboration. How can we not only just learn from one another, but work together?
Yes.
Like a synchronicity there, and synergy.
And that was that was a big life changer for me when I heard you say that there's no competition, because nobody can do what you do like you. Nobody can do what you do like you.
Yeah.
We're all individuals, and I think it's so fabulous. And when it comes to hypnosis, you know, my husband he's been a licensed hypnotherapist for many years.
Oh, well.
Do you know, I think that's how he got me to marry him. Kelly, did you do that to me?
Well, he did a good job.
Yeah, he did. He really did. But I've always been fascinated. I've never been hypnotized, but I've asked him to hypnotize me for, I don't even remember what, so I could dance better or something. I don't know, some crazy thing like that. But you know, on a serious note, our world has volatile times right now, yet it's still a good time to be alive. I love living.
Right.
We all love living. There's many things to be, you know, thankful for and grateful for. However, there are those times in our lives that something may come up and we end up maybe in the wrong hands of perhaps nothing against a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a counselor, a life coach. If it isn't a match, and we start going to within because we maybe don't have that trust factor for whatever reason. Would you say that hypnosis is like, could it be, do you consider that like the last straw or the first thing to tackle, to, look into how would you advise, like our viewers are thinking, gee, maybe I'd like to look into this hypnosis, and they know that they've got some work to do.
Right.
Where do they start?
Well, I mean, always see a medical doctor or whatever.
Of course.
Of course. But I do get a lot of people who are like, I don't know where else to go. I've been to every doctor possible. I don't know. Now, if anybody comes to me with a specific physical issue, I do need permission from their doctor. But when you find out what is causing whatever issue, I've had people have bumps on their neck, their spinal cord, from an accident that have disappeared. Things that I don't understand. How can that happen? How can an issue that has actually happened in this life, causing something, how can that just disappear? In Bobby's case, she's in the book, she was murdered, stabbed, and in that part of her body, she said, I've had chronic issues there for years, and they can't seem to diagnose it, or they aren't diagnosing it correctly. Now, that isn't why she came in to see me, but that's what came up when she passed. And I said, well, let's just see what happens with that. And when I saw her 6 weeks later, it was completely gone. She said, I used to have daily issues with it, kind of like IBS symptoms. And it's been 5 or 6 years now, and it's never come back.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. Allergies can go away when you discover what is the cause of that. I had a client who came in and kept clearing her throat to the point where I thought maybe she wasn't going to be able to relax enough to go into hypnosis. And she discovered she was a little girl who died in a barn because there was a fire and smoke inhalation.
Gosh, that makes sense.
Huh.
And it was a very powerful scene. I mean, I found myself crying.
I bet.
Because she was very visual, it was very vivid, and very powerful, and it healed her. So I sat next to a young doctor who had just on the plane and had just graduated from Harvard Medical School, and I said, how long did they spend on hypnosis?
Oh.
Because it is approved by the American Medical Association. He said, 5 minutes. Why are you asking? And I said, because I'm a hypnotist and hypnotherapist. And so I told him a story about a woman who'd come in to me and how she didn't believe in any of this, but how she was hung for horse thievery and how it healed her back and healed the symptoms. She came to me because she would wake up at night and couldn't go back to sleep. And I said, how did that happen? Can you, with your great mind, you just graduated from medical school, can you help me understand? Because I want to. What happened? How did she heal? He said, I have no idea, but I'm going to start reading about hypnosis.
See that?
Or it's just releasing a part of the energy.
And exactly. It's
like
blockage.
an informational thing for a block,
Because most of us were taught we come as a blank slate.
Right.
But when you think of child prodigies, you realize there may be something more to this. And we come with these maybe residue almost from another lifetime. And when we discover where that began, it's as though it balances that energy, and it just disappears.
So what about somebody that has so many interests and maybe talents, you could say, and I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going.
Talking about yourself.
Notice I said someone? No.
Yeah, but you're not alone in that.
I know that. But
creative people.
But I get on my own nerves. Do you get on your own nerves? I know I get on my own nerves.
Well, it's the focus is, the answer, but sometimes why? Is there so much more to be discovered?
I believe in this past life because when I met my husband, I didn't know how to dance. And when he took me, we went on a cruise and he took me out on the dance floor. I did the tango, I did the cha-cha, I did the samba, I
Whoa.
did the
So you were-
salsa, as if I had, I'm going, what are these feet
Okay.
doing?
Wow.
Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Natural
Yeah.
abilities.
Right.
Natural
Oh,
abilities.
yeah, but
Patty?
you've gotta learn that stuff.
Yeah,
That's
but
coming
maybe
from-
it's
yes.
like the thing about, having that some kind of internal way of the language. So you
Yeah.
have an internal, some kind of talent, like for dancing.
And maybe you had danced with him before.
That's, oh my gosh, you just gave me chill bumps because he did have,
Yeah.
you are too much. She's doing this here now. My husband had that past life regression, and he was told that in so many ways, he's going to have to share this with you, that I was his princess. Back then, he was a knight and was stabbed in the neck.
Whoa.
And he had throat problems all his life.
Wow.
I know. We got 2 minutes. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Could we extend this for another 3 hours, maybe?
It is. It's fascinating.
It is so fascinating. And as we're talking, stuff is like coming up for me too. And there's been many times where I really, honestly have felt like I've been there before. And I'm wondering where all these interests come up and how my brain just keeps going to go. Well, a lot of that was my brain was trained being a host at the Home Shopping Network, as you know, and we had to think.
Yeah.
And we had to focus in and of the moment, 3 minutes, then go the next 3 minutes, and the next 5 minutes. So I can focus, but my brain is still trained that way, and then all this other stuff starts coming up.
Yeah.
And I don't feel scattered. I feel very focused on what I'm doing. But for the average person that wants answers, I'm so glad that we got 1 minute left in this segment. Like what you were saying, people are seeking, this type of therapy
Yes.
for answers that could be
Yes.
that holy grail in helping to really transform your life and give you that chance to really grow, right?
Right.
Instead of staying stuck.
Right.
I'm going to ask you this question real quick, and then we're going to come back. You think people get stuck with their growth in business because of these things?
Yeah, I mean, it may have to do with fear of making money. And another lifetime, how would that be where you were successful? I never know where we're going
Till you get there.
but the client, the soul knows exactly where to go. So I don't say anything. I just take my clients to a place where they can find their answers and then ask questions so that we can discover all of that together.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
this is very cool stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to be back in just a little bit, so stay right where you are. Get a favorite beverage. Is it happy hour yet? I don't know, but stay with us in this last segment. And by the way, you can get the book, The Soul Explorer. This is exciting on Amazon. We'll be right back. At a certain age, so this is supposed to happen. No, it's not supposed to happen. at a certain age, so this is supposed to happen. No, it's not supposed to happen. Hi everyone, welcome into Primetime. It's all about Women Unscripted today, once a month, every last Monday of the month. And today we have our regular gals here, Cher Kistler and Helena Trangata, but she had to leave for this last half hour. But we do still have Patty McGivern with us. And I just want to let you know that you can get her book on Amazon. It's Soul Explorer, Healing Through Past Life Regressions. We have one last segment, and I just really want to go into the investigative tactics that Miss Patty has gone through so that you know that she knows a little bit about what she's talking about. So Patty, we have about 11, 12 minutes here.
Okay.
I'm going to turn this over to you two because I know you have been reading the book and have a little story. So about 10 minutes they're telling me.
Okay.
So tell me about the investigative reporting that you've done with all this. For how many years?
19.
19 years. Do you hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
So this wasn't an overnight thingy. You've been doing this for 19 years.
Yes. So one of my clients, Jenny, came to me, and she was the one who didn't really believe in anything at that point, and she was so fascinated with whatever that is, I want to do that again, that we began going to different lifetimes for a couple of years until we finally got back to why we were together, which is her fear of heights, and discovered, I don't want to give the book away, but discovered why she had a fear of heights that we have learned, because she's tested it, has now disappeared. But she began researching, as other clients did. I mean, sometimes if you're a little girl Carly in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to be able to find them. But she was able to find who she was as a general, and you would have to be a historian that would know everything about every war possible. There were little things that clients would talk about that they were able to in their own research, and then they would write me like, guess what I found? And then I would research more and discover even more about what they had. And it's validating. I mean, the experience itself is profound, but finding yourself in the history book, so to speak, or on the internet now is amazing.
Yeah. How cool is that?
So one of the lifetimes was the one that...
Well, I'll just mention this part, but I get the book, and in fact, I have 2 books. So I take them home, and I was leaving for the day, so I passed one to Bill, my husband, and I said, Bill, go ahead and check out Patty's book. And I come back later, and I just start thumbing through the book, and I'm reading about Lily. And this is someone that was regressed and found out about Lily. And Bill says, that's who I was reading about. And I said, you know, I'm going through the information. I'm going to let you explain it. But I thought that was a little synchronistic tie-in.
Oh.
But there's something else along with that kind of includes one of my experiences with Lily in a way. So go ahead, Patty.
So we traveled to spiritual sites in Europe 2 years ago, and one of the places we went was Dublin to go see Newgrange. And we went to, of course, there are how many thousands of bars in Dublin, but we found ourselves in a certain pub.
Yep.
And in the year after that, as I was researching one of the regressions and talking to a historian and a librarian in Dublin, we found a pub that my client had been in another lifetime, where it was located, and it was still there. And as I was walking up, I went last year with my daughter, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been to this pub before, and it was the one we had been to.
Wow.
Yes,
So
like the year prior.
Right.
And the one that came through her past life regression with Ginny, right? Was it?
No, that was someone else.
I'm sorry.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
But it was
Lily's story.
Lily's story.
Yeah.
Okay. So how cool was that? So the validation in the historical element was just, you know, it's like just
Right.
finding out a piece of, let's say, missing history, but it's like you're missing history, or
Right.
it's coming up with concrete evidence is just, you know, that's awesome. I
think it's
love
awesome,
history
too.
anyway, but I think going back into your own
Yeah.
soul history is really kind of awesome.
Well, you know, in the book, there's a few different things where people will say, like, I've always been deathly afraid of snakes, and we learn why. I go insane when water's on my face. Things that we say without really thinking about it.
Wondering.
Yeah, and wondering what happened. So it's just really been fascinating. And sometimes, you know, it's still going through the human mind. So sometimes the facts are a little distorted. In other words, I had one client who was so clear, first name, last name, their job, their occupation, I said, well, what's your address? I got the address. Her friend started researching. She said, well, you existed in 1938 in San Francisco, but you didn't live at 15 Patrick Street. You lived at 15 Mission Street, but you lived above a building called Patrick and Company.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome?
That is just so wild.
Yeah.
It really is. Well, I'll tell you, we are just about getting ready to close our show with a couple of minutes remaining. I can't thank you enough for coming and share. Of course, thanks to you, I get to know Patty and be able to introduce her to our audience with this fabulous book. It is Soul Explorer. And you know what? It's about, what is the saying that they say about a mind is like a parachute? It works better when it's open.
Yeah.
So why not open your mind? And if you've ever wondered why you are the way you are, or maybe some little hang-ups or idiosyncrasies or things like what we've been addressing here today, why not pick up on Patty's book and get a hold of her? Have a consultation with her. Do you do consultations with people before you get into the
private sessions?
Okay.
And I can talk to people over the phone, see if it's a good fit for them. And my sessions are for about 2 hours, so plenty of time to discover what we need to discover.
And you have your office in Dunedin.
In downtown Dunedin, right.
And that's full of energy down there.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, the art and everything. Well, you are such a delight. Continued success to you.
Thank
and
you.
by the way, if you missed the first part of the show, you will be able to rewatch it because we are archived. So you can go to WeBeam TV and click on the Primetime, and you'll see also on Facebook our Primetime link. But Patty has also written about angel babies, messages from miscarried and other lost babies. So these are both really interesting books. I can't wait to read mine. And I want to thank you again for
thank
joining
you.
us. You're just such a delight, and
Thank
we
you.
enjoy having you, and we'll have you back again. And
Thanks.
Cher, I know you'll be back again next month.
you.
Thank you
you.
so much for the connection with
you.
Patty. And I know Cher's going to be coming on the show one day to present her books as well. Thank you so much for joining us on Women Unscripted. And we're just going to seal it with a kiss today. Mwah. Thanks for being there. We'll see you next month.